What is different about this Dante compared to previous Dantes?
We've got a spiel about this.
What? And then you want me to answer this question?
Yes, please.
Well, oh God.
The job was a commission from the publishing house Mondadori, which is the main publishing house in Italy. They asked Fabrica to do a new version of the Inferno. The Divine Comedy and the Inferno it's a book of books. It draws upon masses of literature and Greek mythology and Roman mythology, and it pulls it all together.
The Divine Comedy has been commentated on for centuries by people studying the work. After me and Patrick went through the book and kind of decided what we thought was interesting or what we felt was necessary to illustrate, to get a narrative thread through the book, I then wrote up a note that would complement the image.
The original idea was to be like this journal, this diary, going through hell. It draws a lot upon the natural historian, the Victorian era of documentation, like that Darwin would have taken him on the Beagle to document all of the minutiae, all of the insects and bugs and soil samples that were picked up.
People reading Dante now will find it very obscure. So what we intended to do was to illustrate these obscurities, to try and make it more immediate for a contemporary audience.
In the past, people have usually depicted something very literal. This concentrates more on the allegory and the subtext, and something which is a step removed from the story. So it might be the family tree behind a character, or something which is slightly obscured from the original text, but still related. Really, when it clicked was when Walter was reading it out. We would sit and go through the whole thing, stop and discuss bits. I would be taking notes the whole time. We would argue over points, discuss points, and that was the initial process. It's taken a lot of time because it's a slow process drawing. And the other thing is that when you draw, you learn something because you see things after you've drawn them. The labour of doing it allows you to understand something.
Doing this project has been really interesting for me, and to work at something, to come to something cold which immediately it seems very obscure when you read it. It's very dense and difficult to understand. And then to work at it and read it again and again and read notes on the text and come back to the text and talk about it, and then all of a sudden there's a breakthrough and you really start to understand it and engage with it. And that has been a great experience.
It was quite an intuitive process because I would definitely respond to things that I thought were exciting as images, and they weren't necessarily the thing that is most discussed or the most important thing to the canto, but it was stronger in terms of the imagery that it conjured. What Walter's done is given depth to it and actually qualifying them in a way and making them tie into the text. With all this learning, it becomes like a net or a lens that you see other things through. You see patterns in everything else. It's one of the most amazing things about the book is that it's so layered. It's funny because you start understanding things and where things are from. And although it's a Christian allegory, it's more than that really, because it's a human story and it's something that I think that we can all relate to. And at the heart of it, essentially, it's a love story.
If I'd been left to do it by myself, I would make something very dry and very straightforward, and if Patrick was left to do it by himself, he'd make something...
It'd be off the rails.
Yeah. So hopefully
Yeah.
it creates a better piece of work in the end.